Good morning. Happy Monday. It's Dylan Jovine from Behind the Markets. It is the 15th of the month. Holy mackerel, we are halfway through the month, and we're more than halfway through the year now. Wow, it's unbelievable. Where did it just goes? You know, the older you get, the faster time flies. It's kind of unsettling and crazy. But I guess the good news is when you get older, you realize, you got to appreciate every freaking day you have, because the benefit of age is that you realize at some point you're not playing with house money. This is it. I mean, this is it. This is the life. This is your life. So anyway, so a lot of folks have written in since we released Midnight in America, our new documentary and book. A lot of folks have written in to talk about the debt thing. And it sounds like they're as concerned as I am. And they're really, really trying to understand how this country really blew apart all fiscal constraint. Like when you look at the stock market's been rising a lot this year, in large part because massive fiscal stimulus is pushing the market higher. And Biden did what basically all presidents do. He backloaded a lot of the fiscal stimulus so it would come in the last year of his presidency. So a lot of that is hitting now, which is really pouring tons of money through the economy right now during an election year, because like all presidents, it's not unique to Biden. They've been doing this. Trump did it. They all do this. I mean, this is kind of the way you try to rig the game. They've been doing this back since ancient Rome, even before that, ancient Greece. I mean, games and circuses, So he really backloaded all this fiscal stimulus, but we're at the point right now, We're at the point right now where we're spending $1 trillion every 100 days. How did we become so fiscally irresponsible? I mean, Bill Clinton was the last president to balance the budget. Think about that. And right now we're running deficits bigger than the entire federal budget was under Bill Clinton. Well, how did we become so untethered from fiscal sanity, really? And it speaks to both parties, but it definitely started on the left. In the early 2000s, this theory started popping around called modern monetary theory, or MMT for short. And what it means basically is, and these proponents really say, debt doesn't really matter. As long as you borrow the money, their theory, as long as you borrow the money and use it for things like universal basic income or free college education, it doesn't really matter. We can grow beyond any conventional limits of debt. Now, look, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that that's not a good idea in the long term. It matters at some point. Companies run into oftentimes operational problems, meaning their sales aren't doing well, or cost structure problems, or they run into balance sheet problems. So when you're looking at a company, you're looking at does it have an operational problem? Is sales shrinking or cost too high? Or does it have a balance sheet problem? Is debt too much, et cetera, et cetera? Does it need to refinance its debt? America has basically no operational problem. I mean, we're still vibrant. We still move, companies are started. We have new technologies. We're terrific entrepreneurs. I mean, what a great country. What a terrific, America is like a laboratory for invention. But we are running into a balance sheet problem. Too much debt for the entity. And this modern monetary theory really got its start. And I'm not going to, from the left, from the Bernie Sanders campaign, really, that form of populism where we'll pay for everything, basically. And, when he lost against Hillary Clinton in the primaries, one of the big wins that he had is that he kind of forced her to take on some of those policies. That was kind of their negotiation. Now, so that became kind of mainstream Democrat, ideal. And it even goes before that. Obama was really pushing a lot of these themes, modern monetary themes, but he had a much more difficult Congress to work with after the first 2 years. So basically, this is like a woke mind virus for money. It's like a debt virus, mental virus, where they think that it's just, you can spend as much as you want. The crazy part is, I read an article this week where one of the early proponents of MMT has come out and said, look, we're spending like, quote, drunken sailors. His words, not mine. Because usually, never in history have we spent this much money in an economy that's doing well. And what this means is that it is limiting our ability to react when the next crisis hits. Remember the 2008, 2009 Great Recession. What happened? Hank Paulson, Treasury Secretary, went to Congress and said, we need $1 trillion to fix this housing crisis. Congress begrudgingly did it, but they didn't really have a choice to fix the economy. They were able to write that check. In 2020 COVID, Trump went to Congress and said, we need trillions of dollars because we're shutting down the country and, we need to stimulate the economy, make sure people don't starve. He got that check written. So basically, all these crises that we've seen, we've been able to bail out of them because the government has been able to write a very big check. But when you have a balance sheet problem like we're starting to get, it's limiting our government's ability to write checks and bail us out. That's why we face a crisis that is absolutely unique, in modern history, whereas it's limiting our government's ability to write checks. Now, of course, the government could write a check for $10 trillion tomorrow, but when your balance sheet is limited this much, the effects of that are tremendously inflationary, even more so. So look, this is the root of the issue. I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about it. We also talk about this in Midnight in America, our new book. I urge you to get a copy because in that book, I talk about the 4 steps that you should be taking right now, in advance of this. And again, we have a bull market here and we have bad stuff coming up over here. So we're not getting out of everything in the bull market. We've taken great profits, but we've sold, and I've been doing this so far this year, selling our weaker ones and starting to position ourselves for the risk that is coming up. So we're lowering our stuff in the bull and we're raising our hedging on the bear side of it. Anyway, that's all I have. Have a wonderful day.